Pluto in your second house. When it comes to Pluto, Pluto is associated with safety and security. And if it's in your second house, then we are pretty much obsessed with having power. The second house, this means that we are obsessed with having money as a way to secure ourselves emotionally and stay stable. So wherever your Pluto is positioned, it will be associated with either security or death. So if it's in the second house, this means that have money implies being powerful, and also is a way to survive. That's how our subconscious mind thinks, because I have Pluto in the second house conjunct my North Node. We need to dig for motivations for wanting to have material possessions. And when people with Pluto in the second house don't have a predictable future, so to speak, or stable future ahead of them, that may provoke some fears of not being secure, not being able to provide for oneself. Having or not having money is pretty much associated with whether I live or die. This is how Pluto in the second house people think. They have also been belittled when they were children, and for them to make up for it, for this insecurity that was formed when they were children, they think that acquiring wealth and being influential will solve that problem, that people will perceive them as more important. So it's all about power and influence, okay? The acquisition of money when it comes to Pluto in the second house is associated with power and influence as a way to distract our attention subconsciously from inferiority complex that we acquired as children. I have this placement, so I know we may have been jealous when we were kids towards other kids and families who had more. That may have formed inferiority complex, and for a child, this is how subconscious mind decides onto making it up, when you're an adult. Oh, when I grow up, I'll acquire so much money and possessions so that I don't feel this pain of inferiority. But that's false. And in attempt to acquire possessions and money, we realize, upon meeting limitations and other circumstances, that acquisition of money was never the goal. It was just to feel important. Pluto also indicates both extremes. It's either, in the second house, it means either wealthy or poor. So these are the extremes we're dealing with, because second house is all about money, material possessions, and the acquisition of money, the amount of money, the legacy that you have. So there may be a constant fear of losing money, constant fear of losing all of the resources and possessions that you have, and as a result may provoke that poverty. Actually, if you're fearful of losing whatever you have, you may actually provoke poverty if you don't acknowledge your thoughts. That's how Pluto works. It's the underworld. It's your unconscious motivations, unconscious thoughts. You may consciously say, no, I don't want to be poor, but subconsciously you may be fearful of losing everything you have, and hence why you will. But consciously you'll say, no, I didn't want. But that's how Pluto works. Actually, Uranus works the same way. So it's either wealthy or poor. So we need to find a middle ground. We are not afraid to be poor, and we're not too identified with the possessions and money in the external world as something that is going to rip us off everything we have, or some external danger, because Pluto implies there's an external danger and it provokes behaviors that actually lead to destruction. And it's the second house, meaning destruction of resources and safety, security. Pluto in the second usually don't come from wealthy families. However, they have the potential, either a family or that person, to become well off. See, when Pluto in the second house is not born with that wealth, but rather, later in their lives acquires, either their family member or them acquire wealth, they attach themselves to that wealth, but to a point where it starts to define who they are, to a point where it starts to dictate their reality, meaning if you don't have this, that means you're not safe. Second housers, Pluto, just be aware to not attach your value, your worth to how much you have. You better appreciate what you have so that you don't lose it, because with Pluto we know it's either creation or destruction, and a lot of the times I see it usually destroys something that we've been overlooking. So yeah, follow me if you like my content.